member really violating just our general expectations about how a staff member would operate as part of our institute team. To try to make this a little bit more concrete, I've asked Tiffany to share an example from a previous institute of where the fair warning policy would have come into play.
So, and obviously this was before we even had a fair warning policy, but it's the exact same sentiment. So last year on the Houston Institute team, I had a school director who, even before all-staff conference, was already seeing some signs from a CMA that she was going to be managing that he was just not meeting expectations. So there were several like pre-conference documents he was supposed to have like filled out and sent to her that he missed. So she alerted me of that right away, as just, you know, she was very diligent about taking notes and things like that, alerted me, and, you know, we said, okay, well, we need to talk to him, just let him know that, like, you expect things to be on time, we'll go through all-staff conference, and then, you know, we'll keep an eye on him after that. So she did that, you know, just let him know, not even like a fair warning, just like, hey, like, I just want to let you reiterate that, like, these are the things that we have deadlines for a reason, so forth, so what. Comes to all-staff conference, she actually notices at all-staff conference that he's one of the only people in her group, or he is the only person in her group, that didn't seem to have done their pre-work. She could tell, like, he wasn't really responding when he was asked questions, he wasn't really engaging in conversation, and she could just tell that he actually hadn't engaged in the material before they got there. So that was the second thing. And then right after all-staff conference, there was a set of follow-up exercises that the CMA should have done and submitted to her for her review afterwards that he also did not turn in. So at that point, she comes back to me and she's like, okay, now I'm seeing like a pattern. Like, he didn't turn in these like first assignments, which were things like an interest survey and, you know, something else. Then he actually didn't do his pre-work for all-staff conference, and now he's actually not doing the follow-up work for all-staff conference. So at this point, it was time for us to say, actually, like, we need to let you know that that we're giving you a fair warning. And at that time, we didn't use that language, but we said, your ability to do your job must improve, or we're going to have to take a greater action here. We're going to work with you to support you, but overall, it just has to improve. And so I think that's kind of the place where you would actually say, I'm giving you the fair warning that, like, I'm seeing a pattern of you not being able to do your job effectively, and it can't happen anymore because we actually don't have time for you not to be ready, for you not to be, just obviously that, sorry, the impact on your corporate person and your students.
We also want to acknowledge that there are serious offenses, and that if one of our staff members commits a serious offense, excuse me, that may result in immediate dismissal from their institute staff position. You can see here just a couple of examples of what would be included in the serious offense category, and I just want to assure you all that should any serious offense happen with your staff, it would be the responsibility of Tiffany and myself as the SMDIs of both institutes to lead the investigation process and ultimately determine what to do with this offense. So anything in this category is not something that you would be responsible for taking on as a manager.
Can I just mention real quickly that
Please.
A lot of times these serious offenses start as like jokes or something like that, and you know, it was harmless, and then it turns into something that is actually a serious offense. And so it's like, I think it's important to alert people to sort of the, don't do anything you wouldn't be proud to tell your mom about. Like, don't even start down that road, because what might be a prank or something like that usually turns into something bad, and it's you know, it's not college, right? And so, yeah, it's like, I think we've very rarely had like a serious offense that was like out of malintent or whatever. It's usually coming from a sort of playful place that then turns into something that that it can't turn into. So.
And I think, Elon, that just reinforces one of the points I made earlier about how important it is to acknowledge a breach in expectations right away, so that if there are indicators that something could turn into a serious offense, it's something you have already shared with that staff member that you are concerned about. So again, it's just really important that you as a manager are having those very open, very direct conversations with the people that you manage if you see any indicators that something could be going down that road. Yes?
And so kind of going back to what you said about the policy and like having that conversation with those little things that are happening leading up. So those wouldn't be like a formal policy conversations, it'd be more like that. I'm being very transparent, you would like to like a first conference or whatever, and like having that conversation, but then it would be the actual policy until you talk to IMT, like a pattern of those things.
Yeah, I think that's generally the way you should think about it, is that you should be giving direct feedback on a regular basis to your staff members. And when you reach the point that you are concerned about his or her ability to either do their performance or to be professional members of Institute, after having given that direct feedback, it's become a pattern. You want to talk to your manager and really find out whether or not this is the point where we should issue this fair warning. Okay, so we're gonna just take sort of a transition moment of silence here as we move from this session to the next. As we do that, I want you to take a minute just to jot down questions that you have about the benefits and responsibilities of being an Institute staff member that I just shared, including any open questions you have about the fair warning policy.